Hi, this is Bethany Gagne, founder of the Albany Peace Project, and today I get to speak with Sam House, who's an executive coach, and he teaches leadership throughout the whole world. And so Sam, I'm really grateful to have you here today.
Great to be here.
Yeah. Can you tell people about your approach to leadership?
Well, leadership begins inside the self. And as opposed to a sort of an approach that has people believe that they have to copy a certain brand of leadership, the heroic brand or that kind of brand. It's all about finding the unique expression that lives within each of us, always different from the other, and really honoring that, and from that place being able to grow it and then begin to look outwards from there at what's the difference I want to be making in my world, knowing that who I am is just perfect the way I am. So that's the sort of from the inside out. And
you also mentioned about how everyone's a leader, right?
Everyone is a leader. My definition of a leader is someone who is responsible for their world, and everyone is a leader, so therefore we all get a chance to be responsible for our world.
Right.
Rather than being victims to our world.
Okay, really. Okay, that was nice the way you clarified that. So so this whole idea when people say, okay, who you are being a leader, you know, and talk about that. What do you mean about our divine essence and being a leader? I mean, you think leaders kind of have to be one way, or there are leadership skills that are across the board, right? But then you're saying bring our unique aspect to ourselves.
Yeah. Well, I have a personal philosophy that's shared by many in certainly the work that I do, that people are naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. They're naturally this way. They have the inherent capability, the divine light within them to address and engage in their world in a wonderful way.
Right.
And so leadership to me is all about simply reminding people of that, having them take a look at this quality within, and once they recognize it, express it more consciously and intentionally out into the world.
So how do you get people to recognize these places within?
Well, I think it starts with practices of appreciation and, whether you want to call it self-love or acceptance. So often we have a voice in our head that holds a point of view. It's like I imagine it sitting on my shoulder, holds a point of view of all the things that I'm not doing well, and all the things that are wrong with me. And it's constantly, insidiously whispering into our ear. And the question is, do we have any recognition of a voice that might live on this shoulder that reminds us of the gifts that we carry? And if we had a volume knob on each one of those, which volume is turned up loudest? Usually it's this negative voice, this life-diminishing voice. And so if we can learn to turn that volume knob down and recognize that we're at choice as to what we are listening to, we can actually begin to practice learning how to hold more life-affirming messages.
So that's interesting. So you're tying that kind of appreciation and honoring of the self into leadership.
Absolutely.
Wow.
How can I lead with this voice, lead effectively and powerfully with this saboteur voice yelling or whispering into my ear? It's very, very difficult. And it starts with my understanding of the gifts that I carry here first. When I can do that, I can then look over at you and see the gifts that you carry with a much more open heart than I could before.
Absolutely. So that honoring, you're right, then through their leadership they would probably naturally honor who they're leading.
Yeah. There's an inherent desire to want to contribute and give in our world, especially once we've activated and opened this part of ourselves that we know has always been there.
Wow, right. So you use meditation with CEOs, executives, to help them open this place, correct?
Yeah, meditation and mindfulness practice is a central part of the work that I do. And I don't any longer sort of couch it in some sort of defensive way anymore. I think meditation and mindful practices are showing up everywhere in all the organizations that I go, or many of the organizations that I go into. And there is a hunger, actually, for people to learn how to get quiet in this very busy world.
Right.
They often don't know how, but they want to learn.
Yeah. So how do you introduce it to them, or how do you say?
Well, I often start with giving them some very simple assignments about learning how to be mindful and even in their movements when they walk across the room, not just walk across the room, but be in your body and physically connected to yourself as you walk across the room, and get them aware of that. And when they become aware of it, I invite them to look into the fact that they can develop a practice of getting quieter in a more consistent way by a little bit of meditation.
Oh, interesting. So you're having them become embodied, kind of, and have them literally just practice kind of being mindful of their body walking across the room?
Yeah.
I love it, really.
Yeah.
Because that's really transferring it to everyday life, yeah.
Yeah, well, and when we become embodied, we become more present to what's going on inside of us.
Yes.
When we're more present, we are on the pathway to a mindful or meditation practice.
Right, and that opens all of this good stuff.
It sure does.
Yeah.
It sure does. It makes us available to it. We have to summon forth an intention within to activate it and bring it out further. But it starts with getting present within ourselves, and our body is the best way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So one last question. You've been traveling around the world and teaching all this. Do you have any I don't know, anything to say? Because, you know, we haven't had we'd love to hear anything about mindfulness across the world, business, anything. Just, what are you seeing maybe as trends as I'm throwing you?
Well, you know,
any trends?
Trends. I believe that there is a trend. There is a hunger. I've been recently in Japan and in Europe doing leadership training and bringing this mindfulness approach to it. And it doesn't matter in what environment I'm in, whether it's an organization that's more corporate in nature or that's more in a non-governmental association. There is a hunger to want to slow down. That trend is present across our world.
Yes.
And when we slow down and come into ourselves, we become more effective in what we want to contribute to our world. And so that's the game that I'm playing.
Right,
that's the game they're playing. And it's very practical and feet on the ground. It's not woo-woo or airy-fairy. This is sort of like a common human skill that we're actually returning to, because thousands and thousands of years ago we knew about this.
Yeah, right. This is all we did, right?
We're remembering what we once knew.
I know. I too, I see it in all the organizations I'm in. You know, everybody's on roller skates and just this fast-paced. Yeah. And I'm so grateful that we're able to offer these skills to give people some rest and some inner.
Important. Yeah. And I think that, politically speaking, climate change is the barometer that indicates how well we're doing. As we learn how to become a little bit more mindful, my guess is we can cool our climate down too.
No, I'm with you on that. Totally. Well, thank you, Sam, so much. And I'm looking forward to your meditation. Anything you want to talk about with your meditation? Or
four terms: softening, letting go, opening, shining. Look for those in the upcoming
Great. Excellent. All right. Thank you, Sam.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
Good to be here.